Good morning freelancers, I'm PTT and welcome back to another Anthem video. Today we look at yet another topic surrounding the upcoming release of Anthem, and today on the agenda we have a community asked for video. So today we're going to be talking about Anthem's post-launch. Now obviously there isn't too much to go on for this, but there is some tasty little tidbits of information out there, so let's just jump straight into it. Let's start off with the most crucial bit of information for players in my opinion then, and that is that BioWare have confirmed that all post-launch story content will indeed be free. The reason for this is that they don't want the community to be divided and experience different amounts of the game. Now this is coming off the back, I guess, from lots of other developers deciding that the older season pass style model for content is outdated and a newer approach is needed to keep the gaming community happy. Now personally I'm very happy to hear this, as with other games, but it does of course always bring up the question about microtransactions because, let's be honest, future content isn't free. It still has to be developed and hundreds of hours have to be put into making the content, so money has to be made somewhere. But I guess we all have our own opinion on this, so I'm just going to leave it there and move on. But of course do feel free to let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Moving on next then, something I've covered in a previous video, but something that I do feel actually is important to what we're doing here, and that's a small look at the mentality of the developers when talking about future content. Back on January 3rd, a freelancer on Twitter asked Ben Irving, lead producer on Anthem, if there was any chance in the future that the map would be made any bigger. Ben Irving responded with, "The future is endless and full of opportunities." Now obviously this isn't confirmation of anything, but it does highlight, along with many other questions Ben and his team have answered recently, that Anthem will very much be a living, breathing game after launch, and the possibilities are indeed endless. It's really nice to see that they're already being open to the community in terms of answering questions and being very transparent with the whole process. Let's just hope that continues. Moving on then. So we know for a fact that things like the Shaper Storm will be a thing after launch, but as of right now we're not entirely sure how they will work or what kind of activity they will indeed be. We also don't know whether this is content that will be made available later down the line, or if it will be content that is in-game at launch, so I guess we will have to wait and see. Personally I'm thinking this may be Anthem's end-game raid-esque activity, but I'd love to know your thoughts on it because obviously at this time that's just pure speculation. Now something I'm really starting to like about the Anthem team is that the game isn't even out yet and the developers are already talking quite openly about the possibilities for future content and what some of that future content may be. Looking at things then, I believe are going to be strong possibilities down the line. And the first and most possible one, I believe, is new javelins. This is one I think can be a given, especially as Anthem is releasing with a 10-year plan, but there is every chance they could decide to go down a similar route to Destiny and keep these starting 4 javelins for the remainder of the game's life. Now I think that that is actually highly unlikely, but if that does indeed turn out to be the case, then I would imagine that the current javelins somewhere down the line would get new abilities and skills to offset the boredom that may set in after a few hundred hours of the same abilities. Next then, let's touch lightly on what the devs are calling Elder content. Now, Elder content is basically end-game content and covers things like strongholds and other as-yet unnamed activities. In an interview back at PAX West, the BioWare devs touched on something called Seasons. Now, while they didn't go into too much detail with this, they did say the following. We'll be talking about some Elder content in the future, which will be more seasonally based, where you'll play for a season with more specific, high-level rewards. Now what exactly this means, I don't know. I wouldn't even like to hazard a guess as I have no personal idea how BioWare work or if they've done anything like this in their games before. But it does sound very cool, and I think if seasons are being added in a similar way to how they do in Destiny, then they would definitely fall under post-launch content and come with new things every time a new season starts. I guess sadly this is just another we will have to wait and see, but at least it's a tidbit more information you may not have known prior to the video. Now unfortunately guys, as far as actual information goes, that's about it. As I said at the beginning, there isn't a lot to go on, but you guys asked for a video covering what we did know, so well, here it is. Now I do want to add in a few bits before I leave you, but these are all speculation and my opinions. So if we look at other games that are of a similar nature to Anthem, then we can get a good idea for what kind of activities normally get offered up with the game's post-launch cycle. So to that end, here is a list of things I think we can expect to see a short period after the game's launch. So first up we have new strongholds. Similar to Destiny's strikes, these may be a more regular addition to the game to keep the players engaged. Obviously, new weapons and armor to chase after. I think that's pretty much a given in any kind of looter shooter game. New factions, possibly. Now this, I think, would be tied into the game's story add-ons, but I do believe this is a high possibility later down the line. New javelins, again, I know we've covered this, but I want to say it again because I believe it will indeed happen. New areas of the map. New in-game secrets to find. I'm talking secret chests, locations, etc. Again, possibly tied in with new story releases, but I do think it will happen. We do know from Michael Gamble that there is a lot of hidden shit in the world of Anthem, so I can't wait to start finding them. PvP is always a possibility and can't be ruled out because the devs have said it's something they are looking at for later down the line. And finally, I think we can expect to see a whole host of community events that kick off somewhere later in the year. And yeah, that, guys, is about it. I'm sorry for the short video, but I can't exactly talk about things that much when we have such little information on it. Now, I do want to say that we're getting ever closer to the VIP demo for Anthem, and I will be posting a lot of videos on that when it drops. So, of course, stay tuned. Also, head on over to Mixer. There will be a link in the video description, as I'm actually going to be streaming every single day through all of the demos, and, you know, it would be brilliant to see you guys in there, and then you can experience it if you're not playing it yourself. For now though, let me say, as always, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and until the next one, I'll catch you all soon.